Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today is the Set Championship Showcase Week 2 2.0. I released a video looking at winning Set Championship deck lists just a couple of days ago, but I wasn't able to get through all of the lists. I didn't want the video to go on too long, and we still had quite a few deck lists to look at. I did originally want to keep these to one a week, and then I was going to just drag these over to week 3, but I feel like if I keep doing that, then they're just going to get longer and longer and longer. So I'm just going to catch up with myself, and hey, also part of the point of this, along with showcasing all these fantastic players, is if you're going into a set championship, is to keep you aware of like what the current, some of the most popular decks are at the moment, and maybe inspire you for a deck that you want to bring yourself. So we're going to go through the rest of the Week 2 deck lists. We'll be looking at Emerald Steel, Emerald Sapphire, EA Tempo, just win the game. We'll be looking at Red Blue, Blurple, and Blue Steel, all winning deck lists at set championships. But we're going to start off by looking at 3 junior deck lists that have been sent to me. I did say previously, hey, even if you're a junior, or you are the parent or carer of a junior that performed in a set championship, even if they didn't win or didn't make top 8, send me the lists and I'll highlight them if I can. And this is the perfect opportunity to throw in 3 junior deck lists. So we're going to get into it. A shout out to the channel sponsor, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive rates, then check out Cardmarket. But let's take a look at the Set Championship Showcase. So starting off with our 3 juniors, first off we have Henley, 11 years old, did make top 8 of their set championship, so took away that hero promo, so shout out to you Henley. And we've got a really nice, mostly stock looking Ruby Amethyst list with some spice. We've got 10 1-drops with 2 being the Broom. I think that's the right decision. We're seeing just 3 Snake in here, which I think is absolutely fine, along with a Rabbit Engine, 4 copies of the Rabbit, and 2 Genies in here as well, so even more draw power, even more cards that can be aggro, that can answer evasive characters like Diablo, or combine a crab and you can answer things like Shark. So I like it. 4 copies of the 2-cost Queen of Hearts to give yourself a much better matchup into Steel decks, Steel Song in particular. This Queen of Hearts can be a really fantastic tool. We've got 2 Elsas, 3 Mauis, 2 Lady Tremaine as our lady of choice, which I can respect. These 4 Queen of Hearts already should help out a lot in our Steel Song matchup. We're not playing the big Sisu. We do have 4 copies of the Emboldened Warrior. So you could definitely make the argument that as the game goes on, against Steel Song, if you're not able to control the early game, then they are more likely to be able to run away with it, since you don't have access to Medusas or the Sisu. Of course, though, we do have 3 B-Prep in here, but we should have the tools to be able to keep Steel Song players in check while we build up our own ink and our own game plan. Spicy inclusion here. We've got Donald Duck, Flustered Sorcerer, 7-cost uninkable, 5/6 quest for 3. Opponents need 25 lore to win the game. I think set championships are the perfect opportunity to bring out this not awful card by any stretch. Just the 5/6 stat line and questing for 3 alone is really good. Being a 7-cost uninkable, this is super expensive, but it is a nice stat line, can potentially get us over that line while stopping our opponent get over that line. And sometimes just that one turn to, okay, you can get to 22, but you're not winning the game anymore because I play Donald, but I am getting to 20 during my turn. So I can imagine it being super cheesy. So nice inclusion. And we got 1 copy of Be King Undisputed, the Lady Tremaine ability. On a song, we do have a lot of 4-cost characters, the Rabbits, the Genies, and the Goats, and 3 library as our location of choice. This looks super, super good, and well done for making top 8, Henley. Shout out to you. And sibling to Henley, both of these deck lists sent in by Red Smurf. Shout out to you. Thank you for sharing these with us. We've got Madison, age 8, also made top 8 at their set championship. Let's go. We've got an Amethyst Steel hyper aggro list. The majority of Amethyst Steel decks that we've looked at lately have been, I mean, they're all aggro, but like a bit more emphasis on the mid-range, whereas this one is all gas. We are running 3 copies of the Amethyst Chromacon, where you can exert, both players draw a card. We're just saying, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of cards, but I don't care. I'm going to be faster than you. I'm going to get over that line, and Amethyst Chromacon is going to help me keep resources. We're not playing Rabbits, we're not even playing Genies. We've got Docks here to help us draw, and of course our 1-drops can all enable draw, and there are 3 copies of the library, but that's it really, and that can be enough, but we need all the gas we can to just be as aggressive as possible. So these Chromacons are going to help. 4 Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom for that 2 lore burst. 1 Fire the Cannon, just a bit of disruption, pop the opponent's 1-drop. Like a Cindy can be really annoying for this sort of deck. Like if they open Cindy and you're probably quite happy to play Fire the Cannons. Maybe you're on the play, you play play Maleficent, they respond with a Cindy, and then in your turn 2, you can shoot the Cindy and play another 1-drop. So I imagine this got a lot of value. We've got well-statted characters like the Smee, the Giant Cobra for lore jumps, of course the Fox to also help control the board and bounce back these 4 Goats, and 4 Peats to shut down actions. 4 copies of Honeymarin as well, 2 cost Inkable 2/2, quest for 1, and when you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, gain 1 lore. So just more nice passive lore. Mention the library as a fantastic location, but also 2 copies of that fairy ship is just another level of threat density when you're spamming the board with all these things, especially if they want to play things like B-Prep, and if they get to that turn, then fairy ships are going to be a really nice response, or just something nice to have already put on the board. So this looks really, really aggressive. Fantastic looking deck. Congratulations to you, Madison. And our final junior list, we've got Luke, who is 10 years old. Shout out to you, Luke. With a bit of a mix of classic Steel Song and really aggressive Steel Song. We've got 2 copies of A Whole New World here, 2 copies of Grab Your Swords, 3 Zeus, 4 Strength, 4 Storm, 1 Greatest Criminal Mind, 2 Bare Necessities, all perfectly reasonable songs. I do think the only 2 copies of A Whole New World is low, but we're trying to get the best of both worlds here, is Luke. Because we see the typical cards from classical Steel Song, like the Cinderellas, the Daisies, we've got that Robin Hood shift line in here, Smees, Troubadours as a Singer 4, Ariels, Lawrence's, Pete's, 1 copy of Prince Naveen. Makes a lot of sense, all of this. We've got 2 copies of Miss Bianca here that we can play for 4 if we've got an ally on board, so Troubadour makes a lot of sense. 1 Sonic Warrior, who's coming up an awful lot, and 1 copy of the Cinderella Stout-Hearted, just a fantastic beat stick. We're also playing 2 copies of Penny, who typically you would see in the non-wheel aggro versions, who's just a 2-cost Inkable 1/2 quest for 2, and when you play her, you remove up to 2 damage from chosen character, and they gain resist 1. This can be nice just to work with your Smees. Maybe your opponent's trying to chip away a little bit at a time on your Daisy, and you don't even have to heal the damage to get the resist 1 ability, so that can be good, and this go quest for 2. So yeah, a mesh up of 2 different strategies here. A huge shout out to you, Luke. Congratulations on your run in Set Championship. I think it's super important to play whatever you want to play in a set championship. If there's cards that you want to include in your deck, like we're here to have fun at the end of the day. So fair play to you for all of this. I would love to see in the future, if you're doing another set championship or something like that, is to like make a decision and go one way or the other. Like you could either cut 2 of these pennies and play for Whole New World and then just lean into, okay, I'm classic Steel Song, or you could cut some of the songs, cut the Whole New Worlds completely, maybe counter things like Grab Swords, Bare Necessities, and then you replace them with cards like the 4th Smee. You go up to 3 Piglet, you can play a 3rd Penny. More copies of Pete, I think, would be really, really nice. This card is super strong for shutting down actions. But again, I think it's most important you play whatever you want to play, because all of these cards are super good. But if you fancy it, try it going one way or the other. And hey, like, try both. Like, try going, okay, I'm going to be full classic Steel Song with Whole New Worlds, etc. And then go full the other way. Okay, I'm going to take out some of these songs. You still keep stuff like Strength for Raging Fire and Storm and Zeus's, because they're fantastic. And I'm going to add some more aggro characters. But Luke, this list looks really, really nice. Huge shout out to you. Alright, moving away from the juniors, again, shout out to all of you. Let's go into the rest of the Week 2 winning deck lists. And we're starting off with Emerald Steel. We've got 4 decks to look at for Emerald Steel. And I'm starting off with, without a doubt, no shade on the rest of the Emerald Steel decks. I'm sure the players would agree with me. This is the most interesting looking one. Shout out to Nomlix, friend of the channel. Shout out to SLTC. We got the return of Bogo. So we're not really a discard deck. That's not really accurate. We're running that Diablo engine, of course. We've got 4 copies of Morph in here. So we've got like a toolbox of Floodborns to shift onto. Of course, the 4 Ursa to discard songs, and 4 copies of Ursa Deceiver of all to double sing songs. Those songs being 4 Storm, 4 Strength, 4 I'm Still Here. All fantastic choices. We've got 4 Pete and 3 copies of the Floodborn Pete Space Pirate, 4 copies of Tragic Hero Beast, 2 Tinkerbell, 3 Clarabelle, all perfectly reasonable characters to include, especially when you're on 4 copies of Morph. It's nice to have these options, these different toolboxes. But then a couple of spicy additions. Running 4 copies of Prince Philip, Vanquisher of Foes. This is on the thumbnail. I'm calling it now. I mean, that's my decision, so like, weirdest bet ever, but yeah. 9 cost Inkable 6/6 quest for 3, shift 6, evasive, and swift and sure. When you play this character, banish all opposing damaged characters. So right when Prince Philip first came out, I was like, oh mama, this This seems like a pretty powerful card. Yeah, it requires some setup, and we didn't have many Prince Philips. We still don't. There are a couple of 3-cost. One of them is inkable, one's not. Neither of them are awful. And like even then, this is probably a bit too expensive considering like it requires a bit of setup, but it's super spicy, and you can see the high roll, the ceiling here. Especially with, like, again, you could just have the opponent have a board of damaged characters just based off of natural challenges, but we've got so much here obviously to complement it. The storms and the strength of raging fires. The Tinkerbell is one of the best ways of setting this up, obviously. We're also playing 4 copies of Chief Bogo. I don't know if it's Bogo or Bogo. 4-cost uninkable, 2/4, quest for 2. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, deal 1 damage to each opposing character. So we can naturally shift, obviously, the Diablo and the Pete. We have, like, the actual shift target for them. But then this morph is seeing to the Beasts, the Tinkerbells, the Clarabells, and the Prince Philip. So lots of Floodborns here to play to get this 1 damage off on all opposing characters. So you see the high roll here. If you're you play Prince Philip while Bogo is on the board, and then you do 1 damage to even if they didn't have any damage, you do 1 damage to everything, and then Philip banishes them all. So that's obviously like the dream, but you don't need the Bogo on board. Like, you can set the damage up in other ways, as we've just gone over, and then Prince Philip can absolutely cook. And we're also seeing 4 copies of another super interesting card, the Return of Hercules. 5-cost inkable. Each player may reveal a character card from their hand and play it for free. Worth noting, if you're playing this, you have to reveal your character first, and then your opponent can choose if they want to reveal a character or not, and if they do, they can take into account what you've revealed that you're going to play. Then both cards, after they've both been revealed, are both put onto the board, and your character's abilities activate first. But yeah, when this was first revealed, a lot of excitement for this card. Like, it's a super interesting ability, a pretty unique one in ability. Like, cards that let you play characters for free are few and far between. Not many of them are great. And this Return of Hercules, I still don't think is great, but it's a lot of fun. There's obviously a high roll here, and we've built a lot of our deck to complement it, and it is also just inkable. Love the inclusion. A humongous shout out to Nomlix for first place with this super fun looking list. And now we've got our 3 more standard Emerald Steel discard decks. So the Diablo engine, we see Pete's and Beasts in here, 4 copies of that morph, and then all the discard stuff. 3 Prince John, 4 Sudden Chill, 2 We Don't Talk About Bruno, also acting as spot removal. This Ursa the Deceiver of All can double sing a lot of these songs and opens up a double discard with Sudden Chill. We've got the Muses here to bounce opposing characters, control the board, or even bounce our own, getting back something like a Pluto that's taken damage, a Prince John we wanted to quest with, or this 1 copy of Lucifer Cunning Cat, who on play your opponent discards 2 cards or 1 action. Sometimes you hit 2 cards with this Lucifer and you just win the game, and if you can bounce it back and do that again, then that's a lot. I mentioned the Pete's, 2 copies of Tinkerbell in here as well as another mid-game option, and 2 copies of this Clarabelle. So we're seeing a few Emerald Steel decks putting in this wider toolbox of Floodborn characters. 2 copies of Hidden Cove, of course, to affect very important maths like the Diablo, no longer falling to Brawl or Storm, cannons, things like that. Overall, super solid looking list. Congratulations to Espeon. Next up, we've got the Dis Dude. A lot of similarities here, notably this deck playing 4 copies of Hypnotize, which were absent from the previous deck. Not as much of a Floodborn engine, just Pete's, Beasts, and of course Diablos, but still running those 4 morph, I still think is really good. Just maxing out on a lot of counts here, going to 2 Pluto, the full 4 Bruno, 3 Muses, only 3 Prince John once again though, but looks super good. Congratulations to you. And next up, we've got R.E.B. Cruel, Herculean discard. The majority of this list looking pretty standard. 4 Beast, 2 Pete as our Floodborns, along with Diablo and that morph. 1 copy of I'm Still Here as an additional song. 3 copies of Muses. Again, most of this list being pretty stock, but 2 copies of Hercules True Hero, who's just a 3-cost inkable 3/3 bodyguard. And why not? I suppose you could be a little bit more aggressive questing with your Prince John if you know if he's going to be safe. Maybe like they have an evasive character out, so it like means that your Diablo is safe. Keeping the Ursa Deceiver of All safe after she's sung, or the Muses after she's sung. It's certainly not typical, but no reason not to throw this in to a set championship list. The vast majority of the rest of it looking pretty cookie cutter, so congratulations to you. Next, going on to our one and only Emerald Sapphire discard list. I hate this. I hate these decks because they're not good. Like, that's the problem. I hate losing to them. Like, they farm Ruby Amethyst. So, to be fair, this one is leaning far less into discard. In fact, to be completely fair, other than the Ursulas, there's only one discard card here at all, which has been to my will, but you're gonna hit it and it's gonna make me cry. Seems like we're really prioritizing setting up a one-turn kill. We've got 3 copies of Medal of Heroes, 2 cost inkable item. You exert it and pay 2 and banish it. Chosen character of yours gets +2 lore this turn. That's pretty spicy. Our biggest quester here, we do have two copies of Donald Duck who can ramp you and quest for 2, but the main character here does appear to be Mufasa, ruler of Pride Rock. 8 cost uninkable, 4/9, quest for 4. When you play him, exert all cards in your inkwell, then return 2 cards at random from your inkwell to your hand, and whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell. So I think the idea here is just get up to a huge ink pool, get to a point where we can put Mufasa down and have him be safe for an entire turn. I'm not seeing any ways to give ward or anything like that, so it's probably quite a tense turn when you do play the Mufasa. But I imagine the hope is to come back into your turn, be able to raise his lore with Medal of Heroes, quest with him, and then play You Came Back, which is a 3-cost uninkable action, ready chosen character, and does not say that you can't quest for the rest of the turn. So even with just 1 Medal of Heroes buff to this Mufasa, he quests 3 times, that's 18 lore. You probably found 2 lore by the point you got to where you were able to put Mufasa on the board in the first place. But if you've got 2 Medal of Hero boosts, that's 8 lore. Quest twice for 16. You could have probably found the other 4 lore up to turn 8 or whatever turn you played the Mufasa. So it was going to require a lot of ink and a specific setup, and the Mufasa has to survive long enough. But doesn't seem entirely unrealistic. We've got lots of ways to dig and to ramp. We're playing Sail the Azurite Seas, T-Pose, How Far I'll Go. To dig, we've got Strike a Good Match. We've got Develop Your Brain. We're running 3 copies of Nothing to Hide, which is a cantrip, so allows you to draw, but also lets you look at the opponent's hand and see what problems you might have to deal with. We've got Vision of the Future to find pieces. We've got the Muses to help control the board, and plenty of songs to complement them. And of course, we can even return back just our Ursulas and T-Pose could be fine. Tala's to be a body that can dig, sing, challenge when needed. This looks really interesting. 3 Heffalumps and Woozles also to dig and stops our opponent questing, so slows them down. So yeah, like certain decks are just gonna have, like, red decks make this deck cry, but we do have 3 Ursulas, so we can hopefully snipe the B preps. 1 Coil and a Sisu is like really bad for this deck, and Steel can get there, double Zeus, things like that. So yeah, really interesting deck to take a look at. Huge shout out to Denny. Alright, moving on to EA Tempo. Just win the game. We have 6 lists to look at. 5 of them are Diablo discard variants. So we're going to start off with the more traditional list. We've got Dan Whiteley. So we see those Ursulas, an aggressive package including things like Cursed Merfolk, along with 12 Amethyst 1-drops. So we really want to go wide with this deck. We've got 2 copies of that Go-Go Tamago for Lore Burst, Kit Cloud Kicker to control the board, 2 copies of Lyle to give rush and potentially deny your opponent some lore. This Lyle I've seen put in a lot of work in the past. It's a great card. 1 copy of Cricky to suddenly turn your smaller guys into formidable challengers, and this Cricky questing for 1 in and of itself. And then our Amethyst stuff. I already mentioned the 12 1-drops. Absolutely, this is a deck that wants to go as wide as possible, as fast as possible. We are running Foxes and Crabs, so we do have ways of controlling the board. These Foxes also going to complement the 4 Goats. We're running 2 Rabbits and 4 Genies, which I like as a split here. For EA Tempo, 3 Rows for more Lore Burst. 2 copies of that Peter Pan Shadow Finder. Our only evasive characters that don't already have Rush are Genie, so he can benefit from that. But this Peter Pan Shadow Finder really being here to be a Diablo answer. We've got 1 copy of that Bell Accomplished Mystic, great into steel decks, good in Genie versus Genie. 2 copies of Elsa, seems a little bit low to me. 2 copies of the Sea Witch Queen, I think it's a fantastic choice. exerting characters when she quests, and stopping any other character from being able to sing a song, which Pete is kind of doing for Emerald Steel decks at the moment, but the Pete does have to be exerted to the point where some decks are playing things like Sven just to ready the Pete so they can sing their songs again. This Ursula doesn't need to be exerted, just needs to be on the board and other characters can't sing, and in a heavy steel song that meta, I think 2 copies of this makes a lot of sense. So looks really nice to see the traditional version. Congratulations to Dan. And now going on to our discard variants, we've got Greg's Games here. Eddie D, shout out to you, my friend. A lot of the same Amethyst cards, 3 foxes, 3 crabs. We've got 4 Peter Pan Shadow Finder here, who is a Diablo answer, but also is going to enable the 3 copies of Iago Giant Spectral Parrot that we're running with that 4/6 body and evasive. Does have that vanish keyword, so it's got to look out for steel decks, and some decks are playing some like not awful tech actions just to be able to answer these illusions. Eddie's one of them. He's running 2 copies of Hypnotize, which +1 strength to a character, and draw a card. So this is a way of getting rid of these illusions. But this Peter Pan Shadow Finder and Iago package is pretty nice, and of course Genies in here can also benefit from it. And just more evasives in general. Our Diablo, like that's a super important interaction as well, really. Like without shifting your Diablo, if you've got the Peter Pan Shadow Finder on the board, if there's something to challenge which isn't going to banish you, then that's a way to immediately get the Diablo sideways. So that's super interesting, and of course a wide package of shift options for this Diablo. Of course the 4 Obedient Raven, 4 Spy, and 3 copies of that Spiteful Raven with a 1/2 stat line, evasive, and challenger 2. So birds are plenty to shift our Devoted Herald, 1 copy of that Ursula Sea Witch Queen, who I was just picking up, 1 copy of that Lucifer Cunning Cat. And despite no Prince John, we're still playing a 2 Hypnotize and 4 Sudden Chill. No Ursa Deceiver of All in here either. I'm not as keen on Sudden Chills without Prince John. I think Hypnotize is perfectly fine, as it is a +1. But Sudden Chill still putting in some work. 4 friends, 4 We Don't Talk About Bruno, and 1 copy of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. 3 cost Uninkable. Return chosen character of yours to your hand to play a character with the same name, with the same cost or less for free. Double Lucifer, dirty. Double Cricky, I shudder at the thought. Lots of potential here. So deck looks really nice. Shout out to you. Next up, we've got Jaw 4, Stink Birds. A lot of the same sort of cards, but we'll point out the spice. We're running 1 copy of Bruni, Fire Salamander. Let's go. 4 cost Inkable, 2/2 quest for 2. Evasive and Parting Gift. When this character is banished, you may draw a card. So it's slower card draw. The 2/2 stat line isn't great, but it's still quest for 2. You are most likely getting that card draw like before too long, because it quests for 2, so they don't want it to sit there too long. And it is inkable, which we cannot say for rabbits and genies. So I think this is fine. But we're also running 1 copy of Kuzco Panicked Llama. 4 cost on inkable, 2/2 quest for 2. Evasive. At the start of your turn, choose 1. Either each player draws a card or each player chooses and discards a card. Now, obviously, we've got a wide discard package. So if our opponent is emptying their hand, this is a way that at the start of our turn, okay, let's both draw a card. And now we're immediately taking away theirs because of a Sudden Chill or a Hypnotize or something like that. So, like, discard Emerald Amethyst. Well, you have to play this card in Emerald Amethyst because it's a dual link. But this version of it is definitely where I think you can warrant a one-off Kuzco. I think it's fine. It's definitely spicy. Everything else looking pretty traditional. Shout out to you. Next up, we've got Vizaya, Villainy, Gone with the Ink. A pretty traditional package here. We're seeing those Hypnotize, a 4/4/4 count of birds to shift on to those 2 Iagos to go with just 3 copies of Peter Pan Shadow Finder. 4 Hypnotize, 4 Sudden Chill, all pretty cookie cutter, but congratulations to you. And finally, we've got the Zenon, fantastic player. I lost a bird. Was it meant to be the 4th 2-drop? Is that why there's only 3 here? Nonetheless, the Zenon, an incredible player. We featured him on week 1. Can't remember what he was playing. I'm pretty sure it was a different list. But yeah, largely cards we've already talked about, but the Zenon including that Prince John to complement this discard engine, and 1 copy of Hidden Cove. Also 4 copies of Iago Spectral Parrot. I would like to see the 3rd crab. I'd like to see like 3 crab, 3 Iago, something like that. But deck looks super good. Congratulations to them. Moving on now to Blurple, which was pretty highly represented for week 2. We're going to start off with Neon Chicken. We don't talk about Elsa. And most of these Blurple lists, while they all share some, they all have some differences between them, or most do, this is the most unique of the Blurple lists. So we're going to start off here. Clearly, the #1 priority with this list is I want to play Elsa. which I completely respect. But we've also got a prediction package in here. We're running 4 copies of Merlin's Cottage, which is a 1-cost ingable location, 1/7, no lore, but each player plays with the top card of their deck face up. And we're running 3 copies of the Sorcerer's Hat, 2-cost ingable item. You can exert, pay 1, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the name card, put that card into your hand. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. But another card in this deck that can really benefit from knowing the top card of the deck is, of course, Merlin himself. Clever, Clairvoyant. 1-cost ingable, 0/1, Blurple, dual link. Quest for 1, I think I said that. Whenever this character quests, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the name card, put it into your inkwell, face down, and exerted. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. So turn 1 Merlin, turn 1 Merlin, and then turn 2 Merlin's Cottage. That's guaranteed ramp straight away. Your Merlin is probably being banished and not taking anything with him, but it's fine. I've seen this deck kind of, like, not so much the Elsa package, but like the Merlin's Cottage prediction package. Shout out to Ben. I know you're watching, Ben. Comment down below. I know this is your favourite list that you've seen so far, just for that. So that's cool. Also 2 copies of Ursula's Cauldron, a super old school first chapter item. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. So we're going to help you draw better cards. And again, know what the top card of your deck is for things like Merlin and Sorcerer's Hat. But then 4 copies as well of Bruno Madrigal. 4-cost ingable, 3/3 quest for 1. Evasive, exert, name a card. If it's the top card of your deck, put it into your hand and gain 3 lore. So this prediction package can be pretty spicy if it gets going. And then we're running a whole lot of Elsa based cards. We've got 3 copies of the 2-drop, who's a 2/3 quest for 1, and when she quests, if we have an Anna in play, we gain 1 lore. We are playing Annas, but let's finish the Elsas. We've got the first chapter Elsa, who will be coming back to the game in epic form at least, but I feel like there'll be a normal version of her as well. Snow Queen, 3-cost ingable, 2/3 quest for 1, exert. To exert chosen opposing character. We've got 3 copies of the 4-cost, who's a 3/4 quest for 1 with Challenger 3. 4 copies, of course, of the 5th Spirit. 2 copies of the Blurple 7-cost uningable 5/5 quest for 2, shift 4. Whenever this character quests, you may exert chosen character. If you do, and you have a character named Anna in play, the chosen character can't ready at the start of the next turn. And, of course, 3 copies of the Spirit of Winter. Let's go back to the only Anna we're playing. 3 copies of the Blurple 4-cost ingable 2/3 quest for 2, support. And when you play this character, chosen opposing character can't ready at the start of their next turn. So, obviously, we are highly built into our theming here, like of this Elsa. We've got loads of shift options for the 2 Floodborn Elsas. This Anna is not bad by any means. Even in, like, the highest of meta Blurple decks, I'm not sure Anna currently makes the cut, but I think it's a consideration and something that goes in and out of testing, because she is a pretty good card, and obviously these Elsas, the 7-drop and the 2-drop, are going to benefit from her being on the board. But as well as kind of like all playing into their own package, it is also complementing our prediction package pretty nicely, because we have so many ways of exerting the opposing character and freezing them there. That means they're not challenging our Merlin's Cottage. It means that maybe they're not challenging our Clever Clairvoyant and our Bruno Madrigal. Maybe they've got evasive characters, but we just freeze them down and now Bruno is safe. So while this is still all definitely leaning more on the fun side, there's some really powerful synergies here if you can get this combo going. And then a lot of support for it. We've got 4 T-pos for ramp, 2 bells to go with these 4 Porpsicle, the hats and the cauldrons. 2 Cogsworth for that resist, 2 Hades for removal. Also running 2 copies of Hypnotic Strength, draw a card, chosen character gets +2 strength this turn. That can allow for quite a nice challenge with like your T-po or something, and also we can just be drawing cards, and you can target illusions with this Hypnotic Strength. Something else you can target with illusions is the Croquet Mallet. 1-cost uninkable item. Banish this item. Chosen character gains rush this turn. So you can choose an illusion, or you can put it down maybe on the turn you want to banish it and give rush to something. Maybe you do it preemptively. Pay for your rush in advance. And it's another item for Bell. And we're running 2 copies of Launch. 3-cost uninkable action. Banish chosen item of yours. Deal 5 damage to chosen character. This looks a lot of fun. As far as theme decks go, I'm a big fan of this. And taking first place, you'll love to see it. Shout out to you, Neon Chicken. Next up, we've got Trekkie Monster team on the play. Blurple is as Blurple does. First place at Comic Cult. This looking far more stock in terms of Blurple, but we are seeing that one Croquet Mallet that we talked about a moment ago, and one copy of that Arno, who I think is a super solid card. Everything else pretty traditional Blurple things. We've got just 2 Diablos for our 1-drop, and hey, we had JDRR on recently who had cut 1-drops completely, so few players being inspired by this. I still like 2 Diablo though. I think they just work so well with Crab, which we're playing 2 copies of. We've got T-Pose. For sale, of course. Genies, of course. Playing this on turn 3 is pretty huge. Goats, we've got 3 Bells, 4 Elsas, 2 copies of that Gaston Intellectual Powerhouse, crawling into more and more Blurple lists. Just that 3 lore is a heck of a threat, and being able to look at the top 3 cards of our deck and find the card that we like. Lovely. 1 copy of Baymax for some potential lore burst. 3 Tamatoa to go with these Porpsicles, and this 1 Croquet Mallet. Like, 1 extra item is pretty cool, and it's not a terrible item, and of course the extra item's good for Belle. 3 Finders Keepers, 4 Friends, 1 Let It Go. So yeah, Blurple looking a lot of fun and seeming really powerful at the moment. So shout out to Trekkie Monster. We've got another Blurple player here from Rare Hunter Shop. First place, again, very, very stock looking. We've got the 4 Bell, 4 Porpsicle, no Croquet Mallet. No 1-drops at all, once again. 2 copies of the Peter Pan Shadow Finder, great to work with the Iago, and of course just taking out Diablos on his own. 2 copies of Cogsworth making his way into this list. 2 Gaston, 4 Hades, 3 Finders Keepers. Yeah, this looks super solid. Congratulations to you. Next up, the True TCG with another very stock-looking list, but we are playing 2 copies of the Lores Madrigal. 4-cost Ingable 3 quest for 2. When you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, you may draw a card. So we talked earlier about Bruni. Dolores here, the draw isn't assured, but should be pretty likely. And the questing for 2 is nice. And Dolores is inkable, so that's pretty cool. And we're seeing 2 copies of that Hypnotic Strength coming up once again. Target illusions and just T-Po suddenly turning into a 3-2. It sounds pretty good and something that people aren't going to expect. So yeah, super solid looking list. No Peter Pan Shadow Finder worth mentioning. But I think it's fine. We can still play the Iago on turn 3 after ramping. So yeah, it looks good. Congratulations to you. And our final Blurple list. Z Gaming, Behold the Iceman, Team Uninkables, Blurple Nurple, Ravenforge Games. First of all, thank you for the detailed title. Exactly what I looked for. I do know that this list was sent to me with 3 others. Where they told me it was a top 4 split. I am going to show the lists. So I'm going to show this one now, and then the other 3 are deck lists that we looked at in the previous video. I think a couple of Steel Song. So they will be in the week 3 deck lists. But just to confirm, going forward, I'm only taking splits if it's a split of the finals. Like, if I start taking top 4 splits for everybody, then it could start getting a bit overwhelming again. But I am going to show those 4 lists that were sent to me. All great guys. And if I'm completely honest, it was this player that won it over for you, because I wanted to talk about this list because this looks really, really cool. 2-line special. We are running 4 copies of Peter Pan's Shadow, which until very recently was my mum's favourite art of Lorcana. I always show her every card. Like, she doesn't know how to play the game, but she loves the pictures, she loves the art. So I always show her the sets when they come out, and Peter Pan Shadow has been her favourite since it came out. Until very recently when she saw the new Floodborn Yzma card, because that's her favourite Disney character. But anyway, Peter Pan Shadow, 4-cost Uninkable, 2/3, quest for 2, Evasive Rush, and your other characters with Rush gain Evasive. So the exact opposite of the Shadow Finder. The change it's going to have for this deck is now our Madam Mim Foxes have Evasive. I imagine just the fact that a lot of people wouldn't have seen this coming was a factor in this performing well, but I do like Peter Pan Shadow. Again, it is another evasive answer to things. And the questing for 2 is pretty huge. So yeah, I'd be really interested to hear how this card performed over this event, if this player is watching. But love the spice, and the other really cool card here is Madam Mim, Tiny Adversary, who's a 2-cost inkable 0/3 quest for 1. She has Challenger 1, and she gives a blanket Challenger 1 to all of your other characters, which can be pretty huge. You don't need to turn her sideways, so like if you just do the math yourself, looking down this line of characters, This Challenger 1 is going to change a lot of maths, so I think that's super spicy. Also running 4 copies of the Selfish Emperor Kuzco in here, who inks a location or an item in play. Respecting locations, I imagine, more than anything, but maybe a dime or two. And then, yeah, just the most solid of the Blurple cards. All 4s, 4 Tipo, Hades, Fox, Finders Keepers, Friends, Let It Go, Portacles, Genies, even Bells. So yeah, really, really cool looking list. Congratulations to you. Going on now to Blue Steel, we've got 2 lists, both of them being Kiwi Bird. Just super aggressive, play your curve, put down big warded characters and just race to game. Starting off here with Serena724 BS Mods 2, shout out to you. This Alice Savvy Sailor being one of the cards that, like, really, in my opinion, categorizes a Kiwi Bird list. 3 cost uninkable, 1/4 quest for 2, ward, and whenever she quests, another chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and gains ward until the start of your next turn. Ward is an incredibly powerful ability, great against steel decks, against Ruby, things like Medusa and Brawl, very common. Also 4 copies of Cogsworth here with that ward keyword, and giving blanket resist 1 to your characters. And 4 copies of this Pluto Guard Dog, who has a 5/5 stat line when he has no damage and is a bodyguard. So like I said, just play your curve and then find the right turn to turn everything sideways, where you've hopefully warded things up with Alice. You've got things like either or, Pluto being a bodyguard, Cogsworth making it harder for them to make good challenges. Even 2 copies of Chen Po here, this huge bodyguard. And on that curve, we've got 3 copies of Sticky Mickey, 3 copies of Mulan, going to help you to find pieces that you need. 2 copies of Anna, Braving the Storm. If you have a hero in play, then she gets +1 lore, and that 1/4 stat line is pretty nice. Calhoun's to check the board while allowing us to lore burst. 4 Smees, obviously, for the incredible stats. 4 Doc is our draw engine here. We do have the 4 Bell and 4 Porp. 2 copies of Wendy Darling, a really nice addition, another warded character. 3 cost inkable, 3/1 quest for 2, so 2 lore and probably trading with whatever challenges are into her, or you can give support to one of your smaller bodies and get value that way. 4 Pete to shut down the actions. 3 Big Bad Gantu. We like Gantu. Questing for 4 on a 5 cost inkable 4/3 body is terrifying, especially if you ward it. And then 3 cannons, 4 strength for some board control, and 3 copies of the McDuck mana to create that 2-pronged attack in threat density. List looks fantastic. I lost hard to it in the set championship, content creator set championship, to Harlan Sweet. No shame. Great player, great deck. Good to see it doing well here. Congratulations to you. And next up, Frankie Fitz P, Item Kiwi, Set 7, Post Flaversham. I don't call him Hiram. I can't do it. I'm sorry. He's Flaversham. But again, a lot of similarities here. We're seeing 2 Happy included as a way to be able to deal with evasive characters. Once again, the Wendy Darlings. We're seeing 3 copies of that Baymax on play and on quest. Heal up to do 2 damage from another chosen character of yours and gain 1 lore for each character. Each damage removed that way. We're seeing the Robin Hood package in here, which I know Harlan Sweet and Justin are a big fan of including in this deck. And the spiciest thing here, we have 1 copy of Bagheera, Guardian Jaguar. 5 cost inkable, 4/3 quest for 2, bodyguard, and during an opponent's turn, when this character is banished, deal 2 damage to each opposing character. I already talked about like the benefit of big bodyguards to just play your curve and find the right turn to turn them all sideways, where it's going to be harder for your opponent to make good challenges. So just being a fairly bulky bodyguard is good. 4/3 isn't the best stat line in the world, but it's at least trading with most things, I imagine. And then if you are able to like do significant damage with this 2 ping on all opposing characters, then that could be pretty good. So really nice looking list. Congratulations to you. And our final few lists are all Ruby Sapphire. And we're going to be starting off with Cloud Butler. First place game Empire set champs. Toxic Apple. You have my attention. Immediately you have my attention due to 2 cards that I'm a big fan of. First of all, we're running 1 copy of the Poisoned Apple. Let's go. 3 cost uninkable item and take a bite. Pay 1 ink, banish this item. Exert chosen character. If a princess character is chosen, banish her instead. Love it. Don't care how good it is. Poisoned Apple, goated. We're also playing 3 copies of Flaversham at Monsieur d'Arc. 1 cost inkable, 1/2 quest for 1, and I've come to collect. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. I can help you with your problem for the right price. Love this guy. So, We are an item build of Ruby Sapphire, but we're not playing Lucky Dime. And we're not playing Maurice's Workshop, both cards that will come up as we look through the other lists. We are playing the 4 copies of Tamatoa Happy as a Clam to potentially play an item for free, which is relevant in this deck due to another item that we'll come to in a moment. And to be fair, playing any item for free, even if it's a Porpsicle, is still not awful. But being able to get back 2 items from your discard is the real reason we play this Tamatoa most of the time. The 4 Porpsicles proving enough for a lot of players. We're playing 2 copies of Vitalisphere, which is a solid card, and we are playing 4 copies of that Maui Shark, so this is going to help get that online. We're playing 1 copy of Maui's Fishhook, who is coming up more and more in Ruby Sapphire lists. Just pretty solid card at the moment for Genies, Diablos, and of course opposing Maui Half Sharks. And if you're running 8 characters called Maui and you could potentially get the ability for free, then that's pretty huge. And then we're playing 1 copy of Merlin's Carpet Bag, 5 cost uninkable item. Exert, pay 1 ink, return an item card from your discard to your hand. It can be a pretty formidable engine. I have seen this Merlin Carpet Bag start to kick off because you can literally just keep recycling Porpsicles. Play a Porpsicle, pop it, put it in the discard, use this Merlin's Carpet Bag, get that Porpsicle back. Obviously you have to exert the Merlin's Carpet Bag, and we're only playing 1. We have no way of readying items, so this does have a limit on it. But still, the draw that this can enable per turn, like 2 Porpsicles per turn, potentially. Get back Vitalispheres when you need them for your Maui Shark. And yeah, this Poisoned Apple just exerting down characters is not insignificant for this deck, with the Maui Half Shark of course benefiting hugely from being able to make challenges. And if it is a Steel Song deck, which is one of our better matchups, but being able to just banish a princess for free, very, very nice. And of course, 3 copies of Monsieur d'Arc. At the beginning of the game, he's probably, if you play Monsieur d'Arc on 1 and then on 2 you play Porpsicle, Quest the Monsieur d'Arc, draw another card, he's probably then immediately getting banished and not trading. So that's not great, but you did draw 1 card from him, so at least you're breaking even. But later on into the game, once you've got Maui Half Shark down, this Monsieur d'Arc could be really annoying for the opponent. If they're in a situation where they cannot afford to turn sideways and let you get this Maui Half Shark value, then maybe Monsieur d'Arc gets to sit there, turn sideways, count his coins, and just benefit, and I'm absolutely here for it. Most other things looking pretty traditional, although we do have 1 copy of that Scar Vicious Cheater here, which can, in the right board state, be a one-sided B-prep for all opposing exerted characters. And maybe Poisoned Apple helps turn some of those characters sideways, and of course Porpsicles can heal up his Scar to get more longevity out of him. Already mentioned the 4 Maui, the traditional action package, 4 Sail, 4 Vision, 4 Brawl, 4 How Far I'll Go, 3 Pirate's Life, and 3 copies of that dreaded Be Prepared. 2 copy of Soppy? 2 copies of Soppy, everyone! Let's go! 2 copies of Sisu, Empowered Sibling, no shift target, but don't matter much. We ramp to this, and this can have a huge impact on the board, even without any ways to manipulate the opposing strength of characters. So yeah, easily the spiciest of the Ruby Sapphire lists that I've been sent. Love the apple, love the carpet bag, love the Monsieur d'Arc, so huge shout out to you, Cloud. Next up, we've got Lorcana. Screw the rules, I have Merlin's Carpet Bag. And we do indeed have that 1 copy of Merlin's Carpet Bag, which we've already talked about. We've got the Porpsicles, the Vitalisphere, 1 copy of that Fishhook. But in this deck, we are playing 2 copies of Ice Block. No coils in here. Going back to basics, just -1 strength will do for the range of things like our Brawls, which we're not playing. We're not playing any Brawls. We're not playing any Medusas either. But we are running 3 copies of Sisu, so sometimes just the -1 is enough to get significant characters into the range for a Sisu, or just gives you good challenges. We've got that 1 Lucky Dime, no 8 cost Tamatoa, but we've still got big bulky characters, the Maleficents and the Tamatoa's questing for 2, the Donald Ducks, and of course this Sisu for 3. 2 copies of that Goofy for Super Peanut Powers. Nice Lore Burst and good against aggro in the early game. 2 copies of Let It Go. I already mentioned 2 copies of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. I think it's really good at the moment for the control decks, especially Ruby Sapphire. I think it's good to have a count of these. And yeah, I mentioned the Donald Duck as another way of ramping. 3 Develop Your Brain here is an additional action to help us dig and to complement the Maui Half Shark. Looks pretty good. Congratulations to you. 3 left to look at, 2 Workshop variants, and then 1 Robin Hood variant to end off on. We've got Bernardo here. What is dead may never die. What is dead may never die. Shout out to you, Game of Thrones. Let's go. Yeah, traditional workshop engine going on here. 3 copies of that 3-cost uninkable item. Whenever you play another item, you may pay 1 ink to draw a card. This can get absolutely carried away. 4 Porpoiseful, 4 Vitalosphere. No Maui Sharks in here, but 1-cost items are still super good. For the workshop, the Bell, we're running 4 copies of Scrooge here to help us find items, and we are running 3 copies of that So Shiny Tamatoa, who gets back an item from the discard on play or quest, and gets an additional lore pip for every item on the board. So build out this wide item package and have Tamatoa's lore go through the roof. Quest with him, exert our dime to gain his lore once again. Profit. That's the name of the game. 3 copies of that Sapphire coil. Whenever you ink, an opposing character gets -2 strength. Get characters into the range of our Sisu line. We do have the shift option here. 2 copies of Brawl. No Medusa. Also 1 copy of Ice Block as another way of reducing the strength of opposing characters. Only 2 Brawl is maybe a little risky against Diablo decks, but everything else here looking super good, so congratulations to Bernardo. And another pretty stock items version here. We've got Ray, 3 copies of that workshop. This time we're seeing 3 copies of Fishbone Quill as another way of ramping. 3 So Shiny Tamatoa, 3 Sisu, 4 Tamatoa. 6 cost, 1 copy of Mana Medusa. I love to see it. Only 2 Brawl once again, so what do I know? About maybe 2 Brawl is just perfectly fine. Everything else pretty stock, pretty cookie cutter. Congratulations to Ray. And then our final list of the day, coming up to an hour. Again, apologies that these ended up being spread over 2 videos. I'm not intentionally trying to milk them, but if you're still enjoying them, please do hit the like button, show some support. It would mean the world. But yeah, finishing off on the True TCG, who I think sent us I think we've already looked at 1 list from them. But this one, pretty spicy. Ruby Sapphire. We're not a workshop build or coils, but we do have 1 copy of Lucky Dime. The fox in the room is the 4-cost uninkable Robin Hood Sharpshooter. 1/4, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an action card with cost 6 or less and play it for free. Put the rest in your discard. So much removes this Robin Hood. Zeus, Brawl, Sisu Daring Visitor, Gust of Wind. But if he does survive long enough to quest, then there is some high roll here. A lot of the traditional actions that you would see in Ruby Sapphire, the addition of Hideaway here, which has become less popular, but good for location and item hate. 4 copies of Let It Go, 3 Pirate's Life, 3 Be Prepared, and 4 copies of DKP's Favorite Ink, All Is Found. 5-cost inkable song, put up to 2 cards from your discard into your inkwell, face down and exerted. So good odds that we're going to hit something here which is going to be relevant. Like hitting an All Is Found sounds incredible. How Far I'll Go sounds incredible. And even if you're just hitting a Vision or a Sail, that's still not awful. And of course Pirate's Life being another pretty good high roll. So everything else here being a traditional, like, not item build. This is a shark build really, but we're not seeing manas and like we're seeing the Lucky Dime. But the Robin Hood, obviously, a big spanner in the works, but a lot of fun, looks really cool. Congratulations to you. And that is it. Again, super long video, probably around the hour mark, but we got through all of them. So if by now you have sent me a list from weeks 1 or 2 and I still haven't shown it, please let me know. If you sent it to me on Twitter, go back to that tweet and just comment on your original tweet to help me find the original post. If you sent me an email, please re-forward me that original email that you sent me so that I can find it, and I will look to include them in the future. But that's going to be it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.